Well, it's lovely tonight. I've actually got my guests with me. I'm in Sydney and I'm joined here in the studio by senior reporter Carolyn Marcus and senior fellow at the Menzies Research Centre, Nick Peta. Well, welcome to you both. Hey, the lies are starting to catch up with Labor here. Last night, it was this from the opposition leader.
If you were being honest, you would admit that funding went up each and every
30
year.
billion in education.
Every year,
our population is increasing. 14.
Prime Minister, you couldn't lie straight in bed, honestly. This is unbelievable.
You can go to abuse.
No, well, it's just, the reality.
Abuse.
And now this admission finally from the Health Minister, Mark Butler, today that for many people, you know this better than me, your Medicare card is not enough by itself to pay to see the doctor.
There will be Australians who will continue to be charged a gap fee, but we think we can get to 90% for all Australians under these arrangements.
Well, Nicole, I don't think I have been bulk billed for a GP visit since I was a uni student, and that is a long time ago.
It's taken a while for this sham Mediscare scam to start unravelling, hasn't it, Peta? I mean, the fact is that bulk billing episodes are down by 12% under this government. There's been a dramatic fall since over the last 3 years. They're now at the lowest level they've been at for 20 years. And the 14 million extra bulk billing sessions that the Prime Minister promises, that won't even barely take them up to where they were when they came into office. So this is an absolute scare. It's a shocker, and it's just amazing to me it's taken so long to come out.
Do you think it feels like the coalition's actually taking Labor head on now? I know we've got 10 days to go and some will say it's too late, but you know, finally, there's some fight in the dog.
Absolutely, and we should look at these urgent care clinics. I mean, there's a story on the Sky News website that the urgent care clinics that they promised, only half of them are open the hours they said they would be. The fundamental problem is a lack of doctors. It's not throwing more money into Medicare particularly, it's throwing more money to try and recruit more doctors, because that's what will bring the price of bulk billing down.
Right, let's go to that preference scandal, because the PM said uphill and down dale that he will not do a deal with the Greens, but he has already. And it even includes his own seat of Grainler, so he can't say he's not doing one. It's in his seat where he's giving his top preference to an Israel-hating radical who's running for the Greens. Her name is Hannah Thomas. The PM was asked about this morning and decided it was the Australian newspapers' fault for publishing the information.
Why is the Australian determined to give the Greens such profile? It's rather strange, I've got to say. I wouldn't have been able to tell you if you'd have asked me who the candidate was. Last time out in this seat, I went on primaries. That's the way the system works. I got more than 50% of the vote. I look forward to people voting number one for me and then filling in all the numbers just as they do to make sure it's a formal vote. And I don't intend to promote the name or the candidate of the Greens Party candidate, and I'm surprised that the Australian are determined to promote them.
Mock insouciance, I'd say that, because, you know, I don't know the name, I don't care who they are, but they're so good and I don't care enough. I'm going to give them my number two preferences.
It is literally on his how to vote cards. So he cannot use that excuse, but it is classic Albanese to deflect like that and somehow put the blame onto a reporter asking the question, like it's their fault that he's found himself in a situation where he's even being questioned about it. I'm sorry, but this is a person who not only apparently represents everything that Albanese has been talking about, the extremist Greens for the past year or two, but also stood at an anti-Israel protest holding an F Labor sign with fake blood on it. And he is who this is who he is directing voters to put second. It is absolutely appalling. So he's already done this deal clearly, and it's not just him, it's the entire Labor Party, save Josh Burns, who's running on an open ticket.
So 149 out of 150.
Exactly. And what I was particularly disappointed in seeing, I mean, I'm not shocked, but I'm disappointed that Mark Dreyfus, our most senior Jewish politician, our Attorney General, has preferenced a Green as well as the second pick. And I've previously called him on air. I've used the term capo has struck me because it reminds me of the Jewish inmates in concentration camps who would collaborate with the Nazis and brutalize their fellow Jews in order to survive. Now, I'm not saying literally he's collaborating with Nazis here, but he is trying for political survival by picking something that is a betrayal to his own community. So, look, it's shocking, but not shocking in the same sense. And it just shows that Albanese cannot be trusted, nor can his entire government when it comes to not those promises that he's not going to negotiate with the Greens, because as you say, this is a deal. This is a preference deal to trade preferences. And I might also add, Peter, that the Greens candidate did not even give him the same benefit. She didn't put him second. She's preferenced an independent above Albanese.
Well, I tell you what, I told you, and I've said this again, you know, Adam Band, if he gets there as co-prime minister, will have the whip hand. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, today has issued a stark warning for whomever forms government that our economy is headed for a sharp downturn. The IMF's downgraded our GDP growth projections. These are the government's projections to 1.6%, down from 2.1%. That's what they just put out 6 months ago, while also projecting that inflation will rise above budget expectations. Inflation's the interesting one because I think everyone's out there saying that we're going to get this almost bankable cut in the official rate, so down will go mortgages. Not so if inflation returns.
No, well, we can't get inflation down until we reduce government spending, which is locked in at around 27% of GDP, 2% higher, or more than 2% higher than it was before the pandemic. So as long as we are spending money, inflation pressure will be there on inflation, and this is hurting families. Isn't it interesting, Peter? Now we have defence on the agenda, finally, in this campaign, as you pointed out earlier in the show, and now at last we have the economy and fiscal management on the agenda, thanks to the IMF. And let's hope we have a serious discussion on this, because clearly for the future of the country, those two issues are crucial, and yet we haven't been talking about them so far in this campaign.
Let's go back to the PM and his extolling of his Catholic faith this week. He's got to be pretty embarrassed today then by his Labor candidate, the Queensland seat of Flynn, Helen Maddle, who in now deleted tweets from 2020 accused the late Pope Francis of providing ongoing support, this is her quote, for pedos. Here was the PM today when asked about this.
She made a mistake. That shouldn't have happened. And people, if they go back through their history in social media, I'm sure there's lots of people who have made things they regret. She has said she regrets it, and that's entirely appropriate.
I've said this before, Caroline, and it makes, I guess, your point there about Jewish Labor MPs powerful as well. Religion for the hard left is a veneer. It gets dragged out in election campaigns. The Prime Minister's using it now. Others are using it. But these guys sneer at people of faith. And when in government, all the things they promise, like religious freedom protections, they never eventuate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's pretty rich for Albanese to be coming out and defending this candidate. You know, his own party have attacked Andrew Hastie, who I know is coming up on the program, over past comments he's made. So there seems to be a double standard. Don't talk about past comments when it comes to our own people, but it's fine. It's open slather when it comes to the other side. But on your point about their real religious convictions and their personal convictions, I mean, you only have to look at Anthony Albanese's past comments that he's made. He called Tony Abbott a mad monk, as I'm sure you remember. He's criticised Scott Morrison for mixing church and state. He does seem to have a deeply held contempt almost for people that have this deep religious faith. So I think it's very difficult to see what he's saying and what he's said since the Pope's death and take it seriously or treat it with that it's authentic.
Nick, just quickly, early voting, I mean, it's at record levels today. The numbers are coming in from the AEC. In the past, it's always been a bit of a point that when people come in hard and early, the government's on the nose, right? The government's on its way out the back door. Do you read anything into this rise in pre-polls today?
I think it's a bad thing that we've got so much pre-polling, Peter, but I'm not convinced that this is the people who are voting are the undecided voters. It seems to me that the voters that are not sure, that are undecided, will wait till the last minute. The people who have been going in for the last couple of days clearly are people that knew who they were going to vote for. So I don't think we can read too much into the result from this, except to say that there is a large number of undecided voters, a big soft vote for Labor. and that could still come the coalition's way.
Just quickly, Caroline Bradfield, you've been out there talking to the Teals and a bit of skullduggery going on.
Well, look, the candidate there, Nicole Bull, she's had a very interesting few weeks. First, there was the hairdresser scandal where it emerged that she'd been banned from her local hairdresser after she made inappropriate sexual comments to a 19-year-old apprentice. And then I revealed yesterday that she had made these anti-Semitic comments on her social media page. She's blamed those comments on a volunteer. And then also this issue about power poles that she's been plagued with too. Her cord flutes have been all over the Pacific Highway, major highway here in Sydney, on power poles. Ausgrid's issued her a warning, but she's defended it, saying she's received legal advice saying that that's okay to do, and everyone else does it. She won't take them down. She's holding steadfast. It'll be interesting to see what Ausgrid did it. She defended those decisions, but she was pretty apologetic about some of the other stuff. This is what she had to say about those anti-Semitic posts.
It was an absolutely awful, disgraceful anti-Semitic post, and it was done by a volunteer. It was not my views, and I apologised. I think political leaders right across the spectrum have a responsibility to call out and stand up against anti-Semitism, and that's exactly what I will do if I have the privilege of being elected.
Interesting. I've got some things to tell you tomorrow night about her history as well.